Hello everyone and welcome to Fusion Yoga. We'll let everybody load into class, and as people come into the class, we will give everyone a few minutes before we start. So welcome. All right, so our noon hour yoga class. So Joelle, you're the first one here today. So great to have you here. Sandy, great to have you back again for another class. Let's see who else is coming in. All right, so as you're coming into the class and as you're getting yourself organized, you want to get yourself a mat. If you have yoga blocks at home, find yourself some yoga blocks. And if you don't have a yoga block, you can just find anything that's kind of a bigger container, like a coffee bin or something that will just elevate the floor up. So that when you are in some of the standing poses and you want to have some support in the poses, it'll help with alignment. So yoga blocks are great. And then if you have a yoga belt, and if you don't have a yoga belt, any kind of belt. I'm using my belt from my robe for the practice today. So it just will help again with alignment and not feeling like you're having to overstretch or to strain into any of the poses that we're going to be doing today. So the Fusion Yoga class today is a blend of different styles of yoga. So often people will say to me, what is Fusion Yoga? And as I come from different yoga backgrounds and vinyasa style, power yoga, hatha yoga, yin yoga, all of those styles are blended into the practice that you're going to be experiencing today, because I love them all, and when I only have so much time, I like to fuse them together. So there are going to be times when we're working in very strong postures, and then there's going to be times where it's very restored and very relaxing as we go through the practice today. So again, listen to your own body. Yoga is meant to be personal. So make sure that it feels personal for you. If something doesn't feel right in your body, make an adjustment. Listen for any of the cues that I'll give you today to help with modifying or changing a posture to make it feel better for you. The key is to enjoy the practice. So at the end of the practice, even though there are going to be times where you're working, you should feel like, the accumulation of all of it just feels really good in my body. And not only in your body, but in your mind. So giving yourself a bit of a mental break from whatever you've been doing this morning and preparing us for the rest of our day. So we're going to start lying down on the mat. So come to a lying down position and just get comfortable. Right? Let's reach the arms up over your head and take a deep breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, just let everything go. So let's make our breath very auditory. So inhale and exhale. So imagine the exhalation is letting go of any tension, any anxiety, anything you want to just get rid of today. So inhale, exhale, let it go. Let's do that one more time. Just rid yourself of anything. Inhale, exhale. Let your eyes close. Bring your arms to a comfortable position for you. And then just bend the knees, placing your feet on the floor or the mat. In a comfortable position, just sway the knees side to side. And let's begin by just awakening the body, giving our body an opportunity to ease into the practice. And from that sway side to side, bring the arms straight out from the shoulders with the palms up. And they'll start to increase the range of motion. So the legs start to rotate from one side to the other. So giving the hips and the spine an opportunity to just start to release, especially if you've been seated for a long period of time. The low back is tight. And then just go one more time each way at your own rhythm. And then coming to the center. And just bringing one knee in towards your chest and just hugging the knee in, drawing it in. And now curving your forehead towards the knee. And then take a breath here. And feel the breath move into the back ribs. And then exhale and release back. Keep that leg in, curl back in. Exhale in. Inhale at the top. And then exhale and roll back. One more time, rolling up, inhale, exhale, and roll back. Take that hand to the knee and just draw a gentle circle in that hip. So just getting some synovial fluid into the joint. And what does that mean? Well, all of our joints, right, are encased in fluid. And that fluid, when we start to move the joints, starts to pump into the joint and let's reverse the direction. So when we move, we hydrate the joint, we create some fluid sacs in that joint to then start to support the joint and make it feel better. Good. And then come to the center and place your foot down. Let's bring the opposite knee and just hug it in and curl in. Inhale here, exhale, and roll back. Now let's do that again. Curl up, inhale, feel the breath into the back rib cage, exhale, and roll back. And one more time. Curling up, inhaling, exhaling, and rolling back. And taking your hand to your knee, and then just drawing that circle out with that hip. So back to the synovial fluid, back to that pumping of fluid into the joint. So if you've ever noticed when you first get up in the morning and you start to walk and everything feels stiff, but then after you walk for a little bit, everything feels good again, that is the body taking care of itself. So movement is the most important thing that we can do for our joints. So if you have joints that are a little bit unhappy, move them. And then place your foot back on the floor. Let's warm up the upper body. Inhale the arms overhead. And then exhale and bring them back to the hips. And then inhale again. So we just reach overhead. And as you reach the arms overhead, can you lift the rib cage and get a little bit of extension in the spine so we start to feel that opening up through the front of the body, the sternum, the ribs, the shoulders connecting, and then let the arms float down. And let's come up the side of the body and then reach your arms overhead and touch the fingertips overhead if you can, and then bring the hands all the way back down. So that's snow angel action. So the arms come up to the side and then bringing them all the way back down. Breathing through this. And then coming back down just to a resting position. Place your feet about hip or shoulder width apart. And now imagine that your pelvis all the way to the back of the head is on a Velcro strip. So there's a Velcro strip on the mat, and you're going to strip the pelvis away and then work up the spine. So starting from the pelvis, roll up through the pelvis, then up into the shoulders. And then when you get to the shoulders, inhale here, and as you exhale, sink the back rib cage down towards the mat, and then the low back, and then the pelvis, and then the tailbone. So we strip away from the Velcro as you roll up through the spine. And then as you exhale, we place the spine right back where it started from. All the way until the tailbone comes back to its neutral position. And then rock the pelvis and roll. So again, just wakening the entire spinal column from the top of the shoulders all the way to the tailbone, and from the tailbone to the shoulders. And let's just do it one more time so that you roll all the way up and then all the way back down. Let's bring the arms in with the hips. So inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale and melt down. Now with the arms moving overhead, make sure that the weight stays across your shoulder blades and not coming into the neck. So the weight is across the shoulder blades where we're strong and stable. One more time, inhaling. And then exhaling and lowering down. So now that the body is awake, roll to one side. And then slowly bring yourself around into a kneeling position. So you're coming onto your hands and knees. The arms underneath the shoulders. So shoulder to wrist, vertical alignment. The knees directly underneath the hips. And in this position, take your right arm, reach it across to the left corner of the mat, and then sink back into the side. So you almost feel as though you're shifting your hips towards the right as the right arm reaches across the body, lengthening. And inhale through the center, and then reach the left arm over to the right and then sink into the left side of your body. So we lengthen through that side. Now you may feel this relationship from the tricep into the lat, all the way into the torso to the hip, and then inhale, come up. And let's just repeat it side to side. Reach across and lower. Inhale up, exhale, reach across and lower. And let's do it again, one more time each way. Reaching across and lowering. Inhaling and lifting. And last time, coming across and lowering. And coming back in and finding that all fours position. So just awakening the core. So finding stability, inhale as you exhale, lift the abdominal wall up towards the spine without taking the natural curve of your low back out of your back. So we neither want to be sagging or rounded, but we call it neutral alignment. Take one leg back, reach the leg back from the hip, flex the ankle, turn the toes towards the floor, and really feel the engagement of the gluteal hamstring all the way into the spinal muscles. Then reach the opposite arm forward and find that stability. So just finding stability as we hold and breathe. Again, just igniting the core muscles, awakening the center of our body. Inhale here as you exhale, let the arm and leg float down. Take the opposite leg, extend back and find that length. Reach through the heel, so you're reaching that leg back and trying to lift it from the gluteal, so from the back of the hip. And then reach the opposite arm forward and lengthen. So for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. You can begin wherever you begin. Maybe take a few breaths to just settle yourself into the practice. Holding here, breathing into it. And then letting that hand and leg float back down. Curl your toes under and float the knees. Inhale here as you exhale, press the heels back. And now look towards your feet. And you want to take the feet about hip distance apart. Remember, when we talk about hip distance, it's your bones, your connections of your bones. It doesn't matter what's on the outside of the hip, but what is aligning the bones of the hip, the pelvis, to the heel. And then just roll one foot up and the other foot up and just roll it out. So perhaps the backs of the legs are a little tight in our first downward facing dog here. So just taking an opportunity to roll it out, breathing through it. Good, and then both heels move towards the mat. They may or may not come down. Walk your hands in towards your feet. Bend the knees enough that you feel it shifting into your thighs. So now the thighs are taking your load rather than the hamstring. And then reach your arms across, tuck your chin, and just sway nice and easy. And as you sway easily side to side, remember the thigh, the quadricep muscle is taking the load so that the back of the leg can relax. So letting the hamstring relax. This is not about a hamstring stretch right now. This is about a releasing of the spine, a decompression. And then come to the center and then roll through the back all the way up to standing. So we roll up vertebrae by vertebrae until you're tall standing, and then take a deep breath. Inhale and slightly extend the spine as you gaze upwards, and then exhale, let the arms float down. Let's do that again. Slightly extend the spine as you gaze upwards, and then let the arms float down. 2 more times. Take a full breath in. Find that extension of the spine, just a light extension, and then exhale, lower down. 1 more time. Inhale, extend slightly, and exhale, and lower down. Now bringing your feet either underneath your hips, directly underneath your hips, or feet together. Pick up all 10 toes and wiggle your toes. So start to feel as though you could play the piano with your toes. Right? So getting the toes to start to move a little bit independently of each other so that we find our foundation in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Pick up all 10 toes. And now just press your big toe down and your 4 toes stay up. And then switch, 4 toes down, big toes up. So talking to our feet, right? So just keep alternating between big toe and 4 toes. And if you're finding it's a struggle, it's because sometimes our brain or nervous system to our feet has been shut down. especially if you live in a climate where we wear shoes for most of the time, right? We start to lose function in our feet. So it's reconnecting to our feet because our feet are our foundation that connects us to the earth, right? And then spread the toes, bend the knees, and feel as though, because none of us can do this right now unless you live at the beach. But if you were at the beach in the sand and you wanted to leave a perfect imprint of your feet in the sand, press down and then inhale, reach up from there. And then exhale, soften the knees. And again, imprinting the feet downwards as we inhale upwards and exhale. It's actually physics. When we press into the ground, it creates energy that lifts upwards. And exhale one more time. Press down into the ground to lift upwards and find extension. And then relax the neck and shoulders and stay here. Taking your left hand to your right wrist, pull upwards and then side bend. Finding that side body. Inhale through the center, switch sides, lift upwards and then side bend. Inhale upwards, exhale over. Inhale upwards, exhale over. And are you ready to begin the practice? Exhale, you're like, we already began the practice, but now we come into the higher intensity or higher energy poses, bringing your hands in. Let the arms sweep down by your side. Inhale, raise up all the way. And as you exhale, hinge forward into your standing forward bend. Now again, depending on how advanced your yoga practice is, listen for the cues, listen for the variations as we move into the flow. Inhale, hands to the shins, lengthen the spine. So the crown of the head is reaching forward, the sitting bones are reaching back. We find that length. Now we want to maintain that length as you bend your knees and hands come down to the mat. You're going to step your right leg back into a lunge and then soften that knee down. Top of the foot comes to the floor, sweep the arms up and extend your spine. All right, coming into that gentle extension, the hip is moving forward, the shoulders roll back, and you come to a place where you feel strong without compression into the low back. So if you feel this load coming into your low back, come more forward in the upper body. Exhale, take your hands down to the mat, curl the back toe under, lift the knee, step back to plank pose. Now in plank pose, you can do your plank poses from your knees or from your toes. You're going to shift your weight forward and grip the upper arms into your side body and lower all the way down. Point the toes away. Inhale and extend the spine. Exhale and come down. Inhale and extend the spine. Exhale and lower. 2 more times. Inhale, extend. Exhale and lower. This time, inhale and extend and hold. So, cobra pose. You can do this pose or bring the hands in, press the palms of the hands down and draw the elbows into the side body. Now keeping the legs active, push into the tops of the feet to lift your body upwards into upward facing dog. Roll through the feet, downward facing dog. If you were in cobra pose, bend your knees, push back, and eventually work your way into down dog. Breathing into it. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Lift your heels, bend your knees. You can walk or jump your feet in. Exhale, fold over your legs. Let the tension come out of the neck and shoulders. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale to the center. Let's go the opposite leg. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hinge forward. Take your time. Inhale, create a little length in the body. Hands to the shins. Crown of the head reaching forward. Exhale, bend your knees, hands down. Now, stepping your right leg back. Soften that knee down. Reach the arms up and come into that extension. So lunging, reaching, holding here, breathing through it. Just awakening the body. Exhale, bring your hands down. So starting to raise the heat in the body. Curl the back toes under, then step back into your plank pose. Grip the upper arms into your side body. Lower all the way down. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe into it. Relax the head. Relax into the neck and shoulders, but strong and stable in the arms and the legs. Breathing into it. Then lift your heels, bend your knees, look to your hands, jump or step in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, create length in the spine, come all the way to standing. Exhale, heart center. So we're going to add in standing poses. Inhale, raising upwards. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, create length in the spine. Hands can come to the shins. Bend your knees, hands to the floor. Step or jump back to plank pose. Now you can lower all the way or halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra pose. Exhale, back, downward facing dog, and hold. So as you hold your down dog, check in with your breathing. Your inhalations, your exhalations. Now, walk your feet together. Lift both heels up and turn both heels towards the left back corner of your mat. And then heels lower down. So we create a rotation into the hip and the ribs. And then take the same hand that you rotated away from, the right hand, reach to the left hand. So we did this in the warm-up in child's pose or a bent knee position. Now we do it in down dog. Take your hand back up, lift the heels up, rotate the opposite way, and now take your hand across. So getting that rotation, getting that side body to lengthen. Step the hand back out, come back to center, feet together. And now lift your right leg up. Open up that right side of your body, breathing into it. Inhale here as you exhale, bend the knee and bring the foot to the elbow on this side of your body. Nice, slow and controlled as if nothing happened. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Extend back up. Now with that same sensation of lifting, bring the knee back into the elbow, but step the foot gently to the outside of that hand. So hold here. I'm just going to pivot so you can see what's happening. Your hands are still shoulder width apart. The toes slightly turned out. Good. The left hand comes underneath your shoulder. Your right arm reaches up. We find length in that side of the body. Breathing into it. Good. Inhale here. Exhale. Bring your hand back down. And now square up through the shoulders. Float the knee back up. Oh. And then step back. Downward dog. Right? So strength coming in and out of the pose. Left leg comes up. Open the hip. Breathe into it. And now shift your weight forward and bring the knee to the elbow or as high as you can on the opposite arm. Hold, hold, hold. Find that strength. And then inhale, lift up. Come forward again as if you were going to do the same thing, but now we gently place the foot on the floor. So the toe is slightly turned out. The arms are still shoulder width apart. Good. Press into the right arm to reach up through the left. And now the rotation comes from the hip. So the hip rolls in, then the rib cage rotates, then the shoulder opens. So if you're feeling compression in the low back, come out of the rotation and initiate from your hip. So now the fun is in the transition, right? Take the hand down. Find strength, float the leg back up to that balancing plank, and then reach up. Whew. Bring your foot down, shoulder width apart, come to plank. Lower yourself all the way or halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. And take the option of child's pose, knees to the ground, if you're feeling like, I just need a break. Because we're moving on. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Right leg lifts up. Bend your right knee down the central line of your mat. And now hover the shin just above the floor. Now inhale, exhale, pull up and curve the spine so that the head comes towards the knee. And then come back to your neutral alignment. Exhale, curve. Inhale, come back. Lengthen the spine. Now exhale, curve. Inhale, come back. You can do this one more time. Exhale, curve. Inhale to come back, reach up. It feels like a break now to do this, right? So from that, we step forward. Come forward, come to your lunge. Place your foot so that your shin bone is in a vertical line. That is the strongest architecture of your bones to hold your body. Spread the foot into the floor, back foot, we're on the ball of the foot. Rise up to crescent lunge. Now in crescent lunge, find length from your pelvis through your fingertips. I'm going to face this way. Face this way so you can see what's happening, right? So from this position, open the arms out to the side. Turn the palms up and reach out long. Now, your right arm comes up overhead, your left arm goes behind. You bend your elbows and you try and reach for the fingertips of the opposing arm. So the arms are crossing in behind. Whew. So, lunge with cow pose arms. You're like, really? Breathe through it here. Inhale fully. Exhale, open. Whew. Inhale up. Exhale, hands come down. Step back, downward facing dog. Or rest in your child's pose before we go to the other side. Okay, lift your left leg. Bring the shin down the center line of your mat and hover it just above the floor in your perfect plank position. Now exhale, curl up. So you pull up through that core body and then inhale, lengthen. We have 3 more. Exhale, curve. Inhale, lengthen back to your plank. Exhale, curve. Remember at any time you can bring that shin to the ground and rest, right? We have 1 more. Exhale, curve. Inhale, lengthen. Push back up. Find the length. Now come right down the center line. Step that foot forward into your lunge. Vertical alignment. Ball of foot on the back leg. Bring yourself upwards. Breathe. And now, when we do the standing poses, it is finding the balance between strength and relaxation. So the legs are strong, the arms are extending, but try and find as much relaxation as possible. So we're not holding tension in the facial muscles, not holding tension in areas that we don't need to have tension. And then open the arms out to the side, creating that lift, palms up. Left arm up, right arm back, reach behind, and if you cannot reach your fingertips together, that's okay, just keep moving one arm up, one arm back, just to where you can, right? To where you can. So one arm is internally rotating as the other one's externally rotating. And just notice on this side, if there's a difference between this side and the other side. That tells you a little bit about what's maybe happening in your shoulders. Good, release the arms, inhale, raise up. How are we feeling? Exhale, go forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Now you can rest here or come forward, lower yourself down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog, and breathe. From this position, either step or jump your feet into your hands. Exhale, fold over your legs, let the tension go. Inhale, rising upwards. And exhale, open out. All right, so let's face the camera, but on your mat, go to a wide straddle stance. So a wide straddle. So now, with your legs, you're going to slightly inwardly rotate, and this is where your blocks can come in handy. Because if we're tight in the backs of our legs, the block can elevate you. So taking a block in hand if you've got it. So you're going to slightly turn the toes in. It's a slight pigeon toe, but not aggressively. Just a slight inward. That opens up the back of the body, the sacrum, to allow us to move forward more easily. Okay, so, right. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your arms down the center, bring your block towards the floor, or if you don't have a block, don't worry about it. Hands towards the floor. Now, if there's a lot of tension in the back of the legs, bend the knees. If you can keep your legs straight, keep your legs straight. All right, so whichever position you have your block or your hands, inhale, create length in the spine. That might be you take your hands to your thighs if you haven't got any props to work with today. And as you exhale, let the hips rotate and the spine fold downwards as we come into our standing straddle forward bend. This is going to allow us to create length in the back of the body. Now, while you hold this, it's a subtle, subtle movement. You're going to rock your right hip to the side and then your left hip. So you're just gently moving the femur bones inside of the joint while you're in your forward bend. So just rocking right and left, continuing to just explore what's happening within your body. Good. Inhale, create length in the spine. Exhale, hands to your thighs. Inhale, come all the way to standing. Exhale, let the shoulders roll back. Inhale, open. Exhale, and release down. So take your right foot, rotate the right foot to the end of the mat so that the right toes are pointing to in line with the mat, and then the back foot is still that slightly turned in. And I call this the triangle dance. We're going to move the hips. So keeping your legs straight, move the pelvis. So you feel your pelvis tipping underneath you. You see, if the pelvis stays level right here, we can't move forward because bone hits bone. The bones just get in the way. So the initiation of triangle pose in yoga is the pelvis rocking so that the back hip comes over top of the bottom hip. So keep working that back hip over top of the bottom hip. And I think about the crease of that front hip moving into your body. So it moves this way into your body. So let's tip it. Make sure that the front knee is not hyperextended. If you're feeling strain in the back of the knee, soften the knee slightly. If you have a block, bring it onto the inside of the leg, about in line with your calf, and then press the heel of the hand into the block. Now, if you don't have a block, hand to your shin. Then open the hip and the ribs so that you feel as though the back hip opens forward towards the front to the camera, and the rib cage opens and the head aligns with the spine. Sometimes the head drops down or up and the neck muscles have to overwork because they're not balancing. And then reach the opposite arm towards the ceiling. Turn the gaze up towards that thumb and breathe in and exhale down. So if you can go all the way to the floor, feel free to come all the way to the floor, right? Find what's right in your body. Triangle pose. It is a challenging pose, but a rewarding pose. Good. Inhale here. As you exhale, take the hand that's reaching to the ceiling down towards the opposite hand. Bend your front knee so you can adjust your back leg so the toes now point forward. Move the block to the outside of your foot if you'd like, and then start to straighten your front leg as we come into pyramid pose. So as we come into pyramid pose, both toes are pointing towards the end of the mat, but your feet are your hip distance apart. So they're not aligned with each other like they would be on a balance beam, but they are in a neutral position. Take one hand to the back of your pelvis and try and align the pelvis. Sometimes one hip wants to drop or rotate. Can we align it? And if you're saying, I can't get my fingertips to the floor with the leg straight, bend your front knee, keep that back leg grounded, and then exhale, tuck the chin, and the top of the head reaches towards the toes. Now lift the back heel, bend your front knee. If you have a block, move it out in front. You're going to move it about shoulder width out from your supporting leg, and then lift the back leg up. Hand to your hip, coming into half moon pose. So half moon pose, right? The hips open up so that the lifted leg is open like it was in triangle pose. So think of it as a tipped over triangle, a tipped over triangle. The hand that is either on the floor or on the block, the arm is directly vertical from the shoulder to the wrist. Now the opposite arm reaches up, and this is a challenging pose, it's a balancing pose, right? Eyes can be down. If you want to challenge balance, look up towards that top hand. I'm not able to do that. Too much balance challenge for me. Inhale here. Exhale. We've got another breath here. In. Exhale. And bend your supporting knee. Hand to your hip. Lower the back leg down. Bring yourself up. And square up to the front of the room into your straddle stance. How'd that feel? Good. Now, you can do the same forward bend with a hand on the block if you're tight through the back of the leg. But if you'd like, let's add a little bit shoulders. So turn the toes slightly in. Hands come behind your back. Now when the hands come back, the head tends to want to come forward. So roll the shoulder blades back and then tuck the chin slightly. Lift the arms upwards. Inhale here as you exhale, hinge forward. So you feel as though you're leading with your sternum. Rather than the head, think the sternum is moving between the legs. Good. Now, if there's a lot of tension in the back of the legs, bend your knees. That activates your quadriceps and takes down some of the tension in the hamstring. So go to where it feels right in your body. And then if you can, continue to move the arms overhead. To come out of the pose safely, let the arms float down to your shins. Inhale, create length in your spine. Support yourself here as you come all the way to standing, raising the arms up overhead. And then exhale and open and down. Taking the left toes towards the end of the mat, we start with our triangle dance. Just rocking the hips. Now take a look at your legs. Your front foot, the toes are pointing towards the top of the mat, but you have what we call Tadasana feet. Remember when we were standing or working our feet? You want to press the big toe down, equal weight into the little toe, equal weight into the center of the heel. The back foot is slightly turned in, and let's just get our little dance going. Now, I don't know about you, but I notice a difference on this side compared to the other. My hips are not moving as well, right? I want this front hip moving underneath as the back hip moves on top. Once you have that hip coming underneath, then start to tip forward. And again, you can use your block as the arm reaches up. You can take your hand maybe to your foot, shin, wherever you find your triangle pose. Gaze goes up to the top thumb. Let me just check in with you. Keep breathing. All right, welcome to some of you who just joined us. Feel free to start where you start, but if we don't do both sides, make sure you get both sides in if you came in on one side. Good, and hold here and breathe through it. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One more breath in. As you exhale, bend the front knee. Take that hand around so that you can adjust your back foot. You're going to lift the heel, turn the toes to the front. Coming into your pyramid pose. Inhale, create length in the spine. Exhale, draw the left hip back and the right hip forward as you fold over your legs. Tuck the chin in gently. Crown of the head reaching towards your toes. Now again, this requires a lot of mobility of the hip. So if the hips are tight, blocks are a great option. That just elevates the floor and you can support yourself to where is the right range of motion for you. Remember, yoga is not about finding an end pose, it's a journey, right? The journey is actually the fun part, right? Getting to where we want to go eventually, but we take it at our own pace. Now lift your back heel, bend your knee. You're going to move this block to the outside of your front leg. Shift it forward so you've got room to go forward to lift that leg up. Now you can keep your hand down, you can bend the knee, or you can start to come all the way up into your half moon pose. Half moon pose, the legs lifted. If you could see your body alignment, you want to have that leg parallel to the ceiling. Toes towards the front. Arm extending up. Chest open. By opening the chest, we allow breath to come into our bodies. This is a challenging pose, but we're almost there. One more breath in. One more breath out. Bend your supporting leg. Reach that leg back. Inhale, come up. Open out to the front. And then walk your feet in. Take a deep breath. Inhale, raise up. And as you exhale, come to heart center. Thumbs to your sternum, gaze soft over your fingertips, and find your foundation again. Equalness on your right and left foot. And just gently rock forward and back. And now to transition from our standing poses to our seated poses, let's just take a moment of centering and rebalancing. So close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, just notice the gentle sway of your body. Perhaps you're swaying forward or back. Notice the sway. And now with conscious effort, with your eyes closed, start to minimize the sway. And notice what you need to do internally to change. So change begins with awareness. Awareness of where we are, and then an adaptation to where we want to go. Perhaps that's a message for what we're going through today. And then finding stability, finding your balance, finding equilibrium for you. Letting your arms float down by your side, open your eyes, inhale. And as we exhale, hip hinge forward, taking your hands towards the shins, feet, or the floor. Inhale, create length in the spine. Bend your knees. Place one knee down, the other knee down, and come to seated. So we're going to finish with some nice restorative, relaxing poses. So find your belt, wrap your belt around your right foot, roll back and extend your leg up towards the ceiling. Good. Now you can keep the opposite knee bent or straighten it out, your choice. Good. And now we're just going to use the belt to help guide the leg. You're going to lower the leg down. You're going to turn the toes out, circle around, and up. So dynamically lowering, turn the toes out, circle up. So just, again, remember at the very beginning of class, we did that knee bent circle. Now we do it with the leg straight. One more time. Good. Come up and now reverse it. Turn the toes in, come across your body, circle down, out, and up. Turn the toes in, cross your body, circle around, and up. Now remember, you can do this with a bent knee. So you have the knee bent. If there's too much tension, one more time, coming across the body, and then all the way up. All right, hold here. Inhale as you exhale. Just encourage a little bit more length. And if you haven't got a belt, you can just take a hold of your toe, your back of your leg, wherever you can. Good, and then bend your knee and extend this leg out. Bring the opposite leg in, and again, your right leg can be bent or straight. So taking your belt right around that foot. Good, and then we're just going to go out and around. So the leg goes out, around, and up. Oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry, down, open, and around. So you go down, turn the toes outwards, around. 2 more times. Turning it out and around. Last time. And now reverse it. Turn the leg in, go around inside and then outside. So we're going to come around to the inside. So the leg crosses the midline of your body, and the circle is as big as what's comfortable for you. So stirring the head of the femur bone inside of that joint. One more time. Good. And coming to center, bend your knee and release your foot from the belt. Place your feet on the mat with your knees a comfortable distance apart. Take a deep breath. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring the arms down by the side of your body and turn your palms upwards. Just gently sway the knees, just as we did when we started. Good. In my favorite pose, right? If you have a block or a book, it's going to feel even better than if you do it on the floor. Right? So if you're going to use a block or a book, you're going to find the long, narrow edge of the block, and it's going to come down so that the block aligns with the longest part underneath your pelvis. So you're going to push the feet down, lift your hips up, and place your pelvis on the block. If you do not have a block, you can go to a wall, anywhere in your house, find a wall, put your hips up against the wall, and you're going to put your feet up the wall. Or if you've got a chair or a couch, just move in close to it and put your feet up on the couch. It's like, you know the old saying of, let's just put your feet up? This is it. Right? Just put your feet up. Walk your shoulder blades together. Open the chest. One leg goes up. Other leg goes up. Flex the ankles. Right? So if your feet are up on a chair or the couch, you just keep the knees bent. Rest your legs and let the weight come into your pelvis. Close your eyes. And exhale the tension out of your body. So there is an organic and a physical benefit of this pose. So the physical benefit of this pose, especially if you're using the block, is the weight of the legs and the pelvis going into the block pushes the pelvis upwards, which then decompresses the lumbar spine, and in particular, the disc between your sacrum and your L5. And this is where a lot of people hold tension in their low backs. Organically, we're reversing the flow of blood and oxygen through your body, which is changing the inner world of your body. The translation of this Sanskrit pose is calm like. It's a calming of the energy system, a stimulation of what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for lowering your heart rate, decreasing your blood pressure, calming your mind, and slowly bending one knee at a time, place your feet on the floor. If you're on the couch, you can roll over to the side, lift your hips away from the block, and lower your pelvis down. And then just take your feet wide and lean the inner thighs against each other and rest. Now you could stay here for as long as you like, or walk your feet together. Roll to one side, and slowly come up to seated. And just finding a comfortable seated position for you, whatever that may be. Take a deep breath, inhale, and as you exhale, bring your hands down through the center line of your body. Your thumbs gently touching your sternum, your gaze soft and relaxed. And as you move through the rest of your day, may you have peace, may you find stillness within, even though there may be chaos in your life. And gazing upwards, namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. Have a beautiful day. I look forward to seeing you again. All right, stay tuned for more classes, more things going on. So tomorrow we're practicing again. All right, so tomorrow's practice is at 4 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, I'll see you then. Have a great rest of your day.